And we are live. Hello and welcome, nobody, to episode number 176 of Retro Fandango. This is the episode that everybody said would not happen, and here it is happening. Just like that on a Saturday afternoon on the 13th of March. 13th. It's not Friday the 13th. It's not the Ides of March. It's the lucky March 13th on a Saturday.
It's a palindrome.
Is it?
313.
Oh.
Flip it around, it's 313.
There you go. Isn't that the guys that make the Halo games? Aren't they 313?
Open a Bungie.
They stopped. They said we're not making them Halo games anymore.
Oh?
We're going to do Destiny.
You got enough money?
We don't want to be behooven to Microsoft, and we want to make our own games. So they made Destiny.
Is that a good game?
No, I didn't find it to be very good. It was quite boring, actually, because it's one of those games where you need other people in the game with you to make it fun, and I didn't find it to be fun.
Okay. Understood.
So let's do some house cleaning. It seems like our house cleaning is getting easier and easier as the months go by. So far, we have the Quick Save Club, I think, is playing mods this month. I think. Mm-hmm. And the Cartridge Club is playing Ninja Turtles. That's all I got.
Yeah, I forgot to put down the
I don't know if they're
there.
I don't know if they're doing stuff still. Last time I checked, I didn't see let's see, RF Gen. Like last time I checked their what's that thing called? Forum. I didn't see anything there.
I usually listen in and just wait for the announcement. But
I can never remember
that one.
I have no memory. See, I got
they might be playing a video game of some sort.
Oh, March playthrough. Here we go. Eternal Eyes. What's that?
Eternal Darkness. I know what that is.
Eternal Eyes, possibly the worst jewel case cover for the PS1. So hauntingly bad it stares right back at you. But it must be a good game.
Eternal Eyes PS1.
It's got to be good if they're playing it. It does
a terrible cover. Stares right back at you.
Yeah.
This looks RPG-ish. Oh my gosh, no. There's like little RPG characters and numbers everywhere.
I don't know a thing about this game. They do pick some
enjoy.
They do pick some rare strategy RPG. They do like their strategy RPGs over there.
I'll say this: their selection is more diverse than any of the other Game of the Month podcasts.
Yep, I totally agree with that.
They're really digging to get those hidden gems.
Okay, well, now that we talked about the future of other podcasts, what do you say we talk about the future of this podcast?
Oh gosh, I'm scared to have this discussion.
I don't think you have anything to do, Fred. So if anyone is not aware, I've been cutting down on the number of podcasts I've been doing. I've been doing 4 last 2 weeks ago. It was like 5 podcasts in a week, and they get all crammed up on a Friday and a Saturday, and it gets to be a little too much for me. So I just been cutting back on the number that I've been doing. So if anyone hasn't heard, I have quit the Quick Save Club. As far as I know, the Quick Save Club is not canceled. It's up to Ryan and Josh if they want to carry it on. But I've stopped doing that. I've cut that out. And to be honest, that show was meant to. I was something that it was like I was kind of copying the Cartridge Bros once again. It was something I meant to start and then let other people take over, let other people have at it. And it wasn't taking off. And let's be honest, there wasn't a lot of people playing the games every month. So it really wasn't worth it for me to do every month, other than hanging out with Josh and Ryan every month. That was the only. I mean, I think it was the only reason I was doing it for the last few months, just as an excuse to hang out with them. But you know what? I could just do a call. We can just do a call. We can set up a call. We don't need to do a whole show around that. So
we used to do that before we landed on the podcast. Remember when it was just hang out?
A lot, yeah. With that was classic Cartridge Club.
Yeah,
would be the Cartridge Bros, you, myself, Dean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No obligations.
No.
Just hey, what you doing?
Yeah. We don't do that anymore because we're too busy doing podcasts.
Yeah. We act like people want to listen to what we're saying.
And you know, I've been doing a lot more with my blog, which has been taking off. It's been doing really well. And then other podcasts just kind of fell into my lap, you know, over the past few years. Bill's show started up, and then Mike Lodano's show started up, and just been doing that, and it gets to be too much. So my pal Richard's doing me a solid here and cutting me out of some commitment to this show. Thanks.
What are you talking about? Pal, we hate each other.
Oh yes, that's right.
This ain't continuing.
No, it absolutely.
You think if one of us quit, would somebody step in to fill the role in this show?
No. This show would be done. Absolutely. Like when Jake left Polykill, they got Blink 182 in, or whatever his name is. They got someone to come in. That's definitely not. This show will just die. It'll be done.
There's no get Metal Jesus to come in.
No.
Remember that show?
Yeah, I do. All Gen Gamers, and that was a solid that Johnny did for that show. When he left, he's like, "I'm going to leave, but I'm going to get your next host all ready for you, and he's going to step in and do my job." Which that was a real solid thing for him to do.
Oh yeah.
I did not do that for the Quick Save Club. I just like, see ya.
You couldn't find another PC gamer, huh?
Absolutely not. No, I mean, the difference between All Gen Gamers and Quick Save Club is that people actually listen to that show, and I think people are actually wanting to be on it. Whereas Quick Save Club, I'm not so sure. But
well, I can tell you, as someone with a lot of listening experience to the All Gen Gamers podcast, Quick Save Club was definitely a better show.
Well, I mean, they were early podcasts.
Well, that's it. They were, as Stevens likes to call them, the old gods. You know, they were the only ones there at the time.
Right. Well, technology's gotten so much better, and that too. You remember Skype? It was a piece of garbage, you know, and it would cut out all the time. It was It was a lot of delay. Like you and I are on other sides of this planet right now, and we're having a relatively lag-free conversation right now.
True that.
I don't think you could get away with that even 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago when they started.
All right. So exactly how often are we going to be having these kind of lag-free conversations?
Well, that's a good question, Richard. I mean, when I floated the idea to you, I thought you would be more relieved and receptive, because seriously, I feel like as if I'm always like mooching on your time, like I'm taking time away from you where you could be doing something else.
Well, my time is a bit more precious.
That's what I feel. Seriously, like that's how I feel. It's like, oh man, I don't want to be bothered. So I thought you'd be like, oh, thank goodness, yes, I only have to do this once a month or whatever. But
this is all I look forward to. This is my one thing that I've got like locked in. Like I can take this time for myself, mostly because we do it at a time where the rest of my family is still unconscious.
Right.
So it's easier to do that.
By the way, you
I eat my breakfast at the same time.
You casually chomping on snack food while we have this conversation makes it seem that much more legit.
Like I said, my time is precious.
But honestly, for me, I think like if I stick to doing 1 or 2 podcasts a week, What are you doing now?
Turning down the heat a little bit.
Oh,
Hot here. It's getting warm here.
was that like voice coming back from your?
Yeah. Machine talks to you, tells you what temperature it is.
My goodness, Japan, what a world over there. Nothing talks to me over here. Nothing.
Machine's the only thing that talks to me over here. That's why I got to do this podcast. No, I mean, if we are, I just want to know what we're looking at. Are we going to because originally the concept was monthly. That's what you said to me at first.
Way back.
And it was like, okay. Well, no, I'm talking about like a week or so ago when you sent me like, hey, you want to go back to monthly? I'm like,
right.
Yeah, sure, whatever. And then I saw you write in like bi-monthly somewhere, like or bi-weekly or whatever. I was like, I don't know what this is going to be. What does that mean? Are we doing Fandango? Are we still attempting some sort of film dango with that schedule? How's it going to work?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I have no idea. But I think doing a show every 2 weeks is a lot more manageable for me than doing a show every week.
Now, do you want to do every 2 weeks, or do you really want to do a once a month?
No, every 2 weeks is fine. I think that's manageable for me because that cuts it down to either 1 or 2 podcasts a week.
Okay.
And then if it comes up, like if there's a third podcast, then I'll just tell them, no, whoever reached out to me first, that's the podcast I do that week, and Fandango. If there's no Fandango that week and 2 of them reach out to me, then that's fine. But basically, I do not want to be going back to doing 3 podcasts in a row in one night.
Plus blogging, plus YouTubing, plus collection video updating.
So this, like I said to the Quick Save Club people, I haven't, like, no one's really noticed, which is fine. I completely got rid of my YouTube channel. It's gone. It hasn't been there since September. Since the podcasts have been, racking up on me and piling up on me, I said I gotta let something go. So I took all my videos down except for a handful that I still get comments on that help people, like the video game things. Like, oh, I was trying to, this thing in this game, and your video helped me. So those are the only ones I kept up, and I took down all the rest. So like, I cut that down.
Because I did the same thing and nobody said anything.
There you go. See? So, I've been trying to cut back. I've cut back a lot on the social media. I really don't go on Twitter every day. Like, I'll check my messages on Twitter and notifications, but I don't. Hey, there's Kyle. There you go. I missed all the stuff at the beginning. You have to rewind. But I've cut that back. So I've been trying to cut back on other things so I don't have to do this. But, about 2 weeks ago when I did 4 podcasts in 2 days, I was like, okay, something's got to give, because I tried everything else, So, yeah, I think every 2 weeks would be fine.
Okay.
I think that would work out.
Are you wearing an OCP t-shirt?
Yes. I thought you've seen this before.
Well, your pop filter was covering it.
I
just noticed.
No, I mean, I thought I've showed this to you in the past.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I went to sometime last year. I went to I just ordered a bunch of T-shirts because I needed new T-shirts, and I ordered them online, and it was a decent price. It was from the States, and the shipping was pretty good and all that. They had a sale on the shirt, so I ordered, I don't know, about 5 shirts, and then they got dinged at the border for I think it was $90.
Ooh.
I'm like, okay, yeah, this is not worth it at all.
$90 handling fee.
Yeah. Well, basically, like, it's tax free, right? Because when you buy something from the States, it's tax free, and then when it comes through the border, if it gets caught at the border, they're like, oh, you got to pay tax on that. That's a good and a service, and you're going to pay our government, that tax. So,
and then what did all these T-shirts cost originally? Like,
I don't remember. It's quite
Far
a while
less
ago.
than $90, I imagine.
Oh yeah. Like the shirts themselves were. I don't know. I'd have to look. I'd have to look back, but I don't know. Oh, look at that! Kyle was wondering somebody was actually wondering where the videos went. That's great. I mean, they're listed as private, so if you have the link, you could still get to them. But so none of the links on my blog are affected, but you can't like look for them in YouTube. I had to let something go, and the YouTube channel has been like an albatross. I think that's the expression, right? An albatross.
Albatross hanging around your neck.
Yeah, that's it.
The rhyme of the ancient mariner.
It's one of those things that I just can never let go, because there's 2,000 subscribers on there, and I just kept like, oh, I got to do something for those 2,000 subscribers, and then 20 people watched the video. I don't know where those 2,000 subscribers went. But then eventually it's like, I just, I got to cut something out somewhere. So, but, having the time to do the podcast, it's not really a time thing. It's more of like a, stress. And then like I was out all like that Sunday after we did the Cartridge Club podcast, which was a lot of fun, by the way. And that was a good episode. The reason why that was a lot of, like, we were all like really into the game and we all had a conversation. I think that really flowed. And I got to commend, it doesn't come out until Monday, I think. And Rocket Sauce was supposed to tell me what time it starts, but he didn't tell me. I think it starts late though, so I probably won't be in the chat for it. So I'll just say it here. Rocket Sauce did a really good job hosting that show because he just stood back like a good host and let us do our thing. He came in when he needed to steer the focus on a few things, but for the most part, yeah, it was good, really good. I liked everybody on there. It was good to talk to J-Rock again too.
Oh yeah, Steven, if you've been wondering why all these J-Rock hints have been floating around for a while.
Oh yeah, I guess I wasn't announced that he was going to be on the show.
I didn't, or he didn't hear it because he kept accusing us of teasing it. Why you keep talking about J-Rock? Where is he? Where's this reunion?
Yeah. The Classic Fandango reunion will be on the Quick Save Club podcast not the Quick Save Club, Cartridge Club podcast on
One
Monday.
Spoiler though, we were so excited about the topic and the conversation, we didn't even think to call him Kimmy Gibbler once.
Oh my goodness, there was so much that I didn't like afterwards. It's like, oh, we didn't talk about that, we didn't say that, we didn't.
I had a bunch of things. I had a whole list
because there was just so many other things that you guys were bringing up that I didn't even think about or know about or whatever. So
when you first started playing that game, you know how Slimer goes down and and Ray says like, oh, he's been fascinated ever since you put the viewer on there. Didn't you assume like you'd be able to look into the containment unit at some point and see all the ghosts that you caught?
I thought he was talking about because he was in a display case, right?
He was in a display case up on the first floor.
Yeah.
But when he goes down and he's staring at the containment unit, he's just hovering in front of it. And Ray says, he's been fascinated ever since you put the viewer. And I thought that was that some other game element that they couldn't implement? Like you would be able to go down, like when you turn on your Wii and you see those Mii characters run on screen. I assumed it'd be something like that. You could see all the ghosts that you caught during the course of the game. But there's some graffiti in the second level that might be Ivo Shandor's Destructor form. There's a guy with big devil horns, and it kind of looks like him. I was like, is that a little hint? Is that? There's so much in that game.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Okay, so we're doing Fandango every 2 weeks. Film Dango, I don't know.
Well, to be fair, we talk about movies just about every single episode.
Yeah.
So we always have a mini Film Dango.
Why don't we just, like, instead of making it so formal, if we want to watch a movie together, we just watch a movie together.
I was going to suggest the same thing, that if there's a movie I watch and I really want to talk about it, I'll just send you a comment and say, "Hey, I watched this. Maybe we can talk about it."
Yeah. Instead of doing I don't know if people watch or listen to the Film Dangos very much at all anyways. So
they listened to the last one.
Kyle asked, was the story supposed to be Ghostbusters 3? I don't know if it was supposed to be, but it ended.
Kyle,
it
you
ended
gotta
up being.
listen to the episode.
Yeah, there you go.
On Monday, whatever Monday time it's supposed to be.
I'll just say my opinion is that it turned out to be Ghostbusters 3. Okay, so there we go. We solved everything. We solved all the world's problems in 20 minutes.
That's not bad.
Put out all the fires. Sung kumbaya. That's it. Boom. What else you want to talk about?
How you doing, Kyle?
We should have Kyle on at some point. He keeps hinting that he wants to be on.
Well, we were supposed to do like a enterprise thing.
Oh, right.
Have a gimmicky thing.
Right.
That didn't happen. I don't know.
Yeah, we can just have him on and talk about
just
Star Trek.
Show up whenever you want.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know he'd be available on a Saturday today, so we could have done it today, but no, in the future. Do it. Have you been doing the Beat the Bandy Kung Fu? It was a big, like, I think I could say, like, on the vinyl show last night, we had a special appearance by Duke. So you got to see, because, you know, Matt Bandy's a regular on that show, and you got to see live in person the rivalry between those two.
Oh, that is some ugly relationship right there.
Yeah, it is something else. How far are you still in it, or have the high scores gotten so high that you're just kind of?
Well, I enjoy the Beat the Bandy. I messed around with it last month when he did Popeye, and I realized Popeye is a really good game, so I got that out of it. I couldn't touch their scores. And then when he announced this month he's doing Kung Fu, I was like, oh, I love Kung Fu. This is a great game. Totally happy to try that out. And then I see, you know, Matt and Duke posting their scores early on. So I'm like, okay, let me give you my first shot. I run through, I do my best. I'm like, hey, that's pretty respectable. I go over 8,000 points here. And I go back and I look at their scores and it's like 130,000. And like, okay, what am I doing wrong here? And it took me a while, but I finally started getting like a respectable score and posted it up there. And they're like, hey, great job. And for a second there, I was in second place, you know, like very briefly, I had my silver. And then just, man, they went off the rails. Like every other day, their scores are doubling, tripling. And Duke, he's putting the time in. He's certainly putting in more time than I am. The latest post I saw is he has cracked 800,000, which for anyone who hasn't played, if you manage to play through one round of Kung Fu without losing a life and without having to replay levels to gain more points, you get about 130,000 for one playthrough.
Wow.
You get a maximum of 4 lives. So that means he's going through like a 4th or 5th loop in order to get these scores.
And the end boss gets harder every time, right?
I've only, the best I've done is the 3rd loop and the 3rd boss. So I can't really tell you. Mostly the enemies on screen seem to get a little faster. Like there's a knife thrower and that comes at you a little faster. You'll get to the point where you're at a boss and then one of those knife throwers is on the other side. So you're kind of like dodging a boomerang on one side and a knife on the other. It does get really tough. So I'm still playing for fun, but I can't get to his level. That's insane.
Oh,
look who's here.
Guess who shows up. Oh, are you guys talking about Kung Fu?
His ears were smoking.
Well, Duke gets really competitive with those games, and I'm just not. I just don't care. I think they're fun, and I think doing the high score thing's fun. And, okay, that's pretty cool. And then when it just gets too crazy, it's like
it's fun to a point. Like as long as Duke is enjoying it, and he's really progressing. He's got to be the best Kung Fu player that I know, because he is pretty much demolishing Matt Bandy right now. But I have to stop because I'm going to hit that point where I am going to not find the game fun anymore, and I'm just going to get frustrated, and it's going to kill the game for me. So I have to play within reason.
Wow, what was that about?
I
It
guess everybody just loved what I was saying.
I missed it. It just that was weird. That's never happened before. Just it was like the just the panel, like the one web page in Google Chrome crashed. Everything else was fine. Everything else stayed up. Just the one thing crashed. Gremlins. The show has gremlins. Yeah. Sarah loves our Fandango strategizing.
Throw it all on the table.
There you go. That's it.
Just see if anything makes sense.
Well, I've learned that from the Howard Stern show. You always air those things right out, right on the camera, so everyone can see and hear. Because it's fun. It's a little fun discussion. People like that stuff.
Yeah.
There you go. And then you do that and you think, well, there's no questions now. Everybody understands what we're doing now. It's all good. And then people still ask, what happened to this? Where's that?
Oh, yeah.
How come you do it this way? Because nobody pays attention. But that's all right. They're listening to us in the background while they're playing Kung Fu.
That would probably not be a good idea.
You got to
imagine
concentrate.
the intense focus that's going on.
Well, that's because
I want to see the video of Duke losing it when he gets a bum ride and he no, and like slamming on the table.
Didn't he have there was one of the past episodes. Was it Popeye or
I think during the Popeye, yes.
Yeah.
He's got nothing to worry about because I've lost it more than that playing this Kung Fu.
I guess I'm just not
cheap hits. There, I will say this: I'm not taking away Duke's victory, but there is a fair amount of dumb luck with that game. If you get the lucky, because the game
with the Popeye,
the enemies, Kung Fu, the enemies aren't the same every single time, so there'll be a little variation.
I'm still here. That's it? Okay.
That's it. There'll be a variation of like you're not hitting the same enemies. So sometimes you get like an easier wave and sometimes it's a little more difficult.
Okay.
Still difficult overall.
Okay.
Hey.
What? Go for it.
Oh no. You go ahead because I see that you added a whole whopping one thing. To
I
the
did, yeah.
there.
Sarah and I are watching WKRP in Cincinnati. That's it. We finished watching Cobra Kai, and then I can't remember if we watched something else after that. But I really just wanted to watch. I was in the mood for a sitcom, and I got that WKRP final season finally. So we dove into that, and that show still holds up. We've watched the first season already, which is about 24 episodes. And every single one of them were classic episodes that I still remember. You know, it's like, oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. That first season, they did not have a bad episode. There is one episode where they go off on a little tangent where Andy falls in love with this country western singer girl or whatever. I don't know. That one was kind of lame, but the rest of it's been aces. So we're in season 2 now, and it's still good. Sarah says it's from Cobra Kai to WKRP. So there you go.
Is this Blu-ray or DVD?
DVD. I don't think it's
slumming.
It's never come out on Blu-ray, and it was only shot on tape, right, on videotape. That's all those older, like those shows from the late 70s and throughout most of the 80s. All those sitcoms were just shot on videotape, so there isn't really much there to up to 1080p. Whereas the older shows, though, when they were shot on film, there's all sorts of things you can do. Like they have MASH right now on Disney Plus, and they did this with Seinfeld as well because that was shot on film as well. Where like when they would shoot it, they would like your safe zone was like so big, right? But the film itself, there was that much, like it was a much bigger area. But they would just shoot within that safe zone, right?
Right.
So on film, they can actually take and when they transfer it over to Blu-ray, they can actually make it into widescreen because there is those extra.
Right, they call it like the open mat, right? You take off that mat box.
Yeah. So they actually do the same with movies too, and a lot of the movies when they would convert them from from widescreen for the theater and convert them to 4:3, they would just move the matting for them and not actually like so that's why you got like that one scene in that Pee Wee Herman movie where he's pulling the chain out of the thing and you can see the bottom coming up, because that was like it was covered by the matting when it was in the theater, and when they converted to 4:3 they didn't think of that. So
yes, I remember seeing that all the time as a kid. I was like, I know your trick, Pee Wee.
But when the last time we figured it out, the last time we watched WKRP was 2006, and they were all episodes that we had downloaded off of Pirate Bay, because that's all you had. There wasn't any DVD of the series, so if you want to watch it, that was your only option. And it was all like people just recording them off of TV and that, and it was fairly terrible. It wasn't very good quality at all. So watching it this time, even on DVD on a 1080p screen, I'm like noticing so much more details, and that like you can actually read what's on Dr. Fever's shirts, and he carries around this mug, and it's all like his mug is all of his past names that he went as like DJs and other radio stations, and they're just crossed out, and at the bottom it's finally like Dr. Johnny Fever. It's kind of it's cool that you can catch all those details now.
What stuff? I finished up Daredevil. About TV.
Yeah. So you didn't give up on it?
No, I did not. I like I said, I started watching season 3, and then halfway through, I said, okay, let me go back and watch the Defenders thing, just so I can get all the Daredevil I wanted. Because the Defenders is not nearly as good as the standalone Daredevil seasons, and season 3. My only slight criticism is that the last episode felt a little rushed. It seemed like they tried to get more into that 1 hour than they normally would have. But still really, really good. The Daredevil show as a whole is a fine television program.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to catch up and watch that final season.
It's just a shame that Disney pulled the plug on the whole thing, because...
You don't think it's going to come back?
I don't know. The only thing is, if it comes back as the TV show, that would be what's best. But if they decide to introduce that character into the films, he's got to go down to a PG-13.
Oh, right.
And they would also probably lose a lot of the secondary character stuff with Foggy and Karen and all that, because I heard something like there were rumors that the actor was hanging around on like the newest Spider-Man movie set or something.
The Daredevil actor?
Yeah. Like maybe they're going to try to introduce him slowly into the films or something, test the waters a little bit, but I have no idea. It would be nice if they had been able to continue the show as it was, because they were doing some really good stuff. Duke, I thought the climax was great. How did you like the climax? I thought it was great. The only thing I wish is that they had been able to do more, because I was having fun.
Well, Sarah's giving me the okay to watch the rest of that show on my own, so I'll be doing that at some point. I don't know. I'm in the middle of classic Doctor Who right now. I'm only on the third Doctor. It's good times, man. There's a lot in that show that you can tell that a lot of the movies that we grew up with in the 80s, the people who made them must have been watching Doctor Who, because there's a lot of similarities in the plot lines and that. Like the Daleks in one episode send... it was an alien. It wasn't a robot, but send an alien back in time to take out a person who's going to become an important person against the human and Dalek war.
Mm-hmm.
Remind you of anything?
No.
No. Okay.
No. I've actually been wanting to watch that again recently.
Sarah and I just watched the first one not too long ago.
Yeah, I watched T2 not too long ago, but
I think we watched the
I
first.
didn't watch it.
We watched the first and second, and then we watched that stupid one that's on Amazon, the latest one. It came out around Christmas time on Amazon, anyways.
The the one with the liquid Terminator that's on top of a regular Terminator.
Yeah, and it splits into two.
Right.
Yeah.
Terminator friends. Terminator twins. That's what they should have called it.
Yeah.
And they could have done some like fist bump thing where they like activate their powers. They really need to bring back some cheese in some of these silly movies about silly things, robots and aliens and stuff.
I don't seem to know how to have fun anymore. Everything's either serious or smarmy. That's all you got.
I didn't put it on here, but I just watched this movie called Gods of Egypt.
Never heard of it.
Came out a few years back. It's got what's his name? Gerard Butler.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the guy who is on the Game of Thrones, one of the guys.
There's a lot of guys on Game of Thrones.
The Lannister guy.
There's a few Lannisters.
The main Lannister guy.
Okay.
I only saw the first season.
Did he throw a kid out of the window?
Yes, that guy.
Jaime Lannister.
Jaime Lannister, okay. So I watched this movie, and I thought, this is probably not going to be that good. It doesn't look very good. It's got a bunch of bad reviews, but I find the setting interesting. You know, ancient Egypt and gods and fighting around and stuff. And the movie is super silly. Like it's just fun. I guess it's not very good. It's probably more akin to like a Hercules and Xena style in terms of its tone. The CG is awful. It's laughably bad in some of the scenes where it's like they cut to super cheap green screen, and there's so much of like characters turning into big CGI monsters and stuff. And it looks awful. But the movie as a whole is just kind of fun and silly. So it's not a great movie, but I don't know. It's enough for me to just sit back and stay engaged for the length of the movie.
Well, it's got to be somewhat good if it kept you engaged.
Giant snakes and people shooting things. Jeffrey Rush is in it. He's kind of fun.
I like him. Bill's joined the chat and he wants to know about your climax. Here's your climax. And Sarah says they need to cut down on the crappy soundtrack you see everywhere in movies. We were talking about that. We watched. It was actually a crap movie. It's called Unhinged with Russell Crowe. It just came out last year, and it's about this guy. I don't know. They kind of sold it as like this road rage film where a guy loses it with road rage, but it became really implausible. This guy. This is at the beginning of the movie, so it's not a spoiler. But this guy murders his wife and his wife's lover, and then he's driving around and he's just kind of looking for a fight with some random person. He runs like this woman who is like struggling to survive in this crazy world that we all live in. She's got a family and a brother that she's trying to support. And you learn all this in like the first 5 minutes of the movie because they're all sitting around the breakfast table and they're all like spilling out their life story in that really cheesy movie dialogue way where it's completely unnatural and forced, you know. It's like, we can't invite grandma to stay here. She's got to sell her own home and put her in the home and all that because we got money problems and So anyways, she runs into this guy and Russell Crowe and they get all into a skerfuffle, and now Russell Crowe is going to teach her a lesson because she honked at him, right? But he's crazy.
Oh, okay. Now I'm remembering the trailer for this movie.
Yeah, but it goes really off the rails. Like I really like, like it's comparable to Falling Down. Have you ever seen the movie Falling Down with?
It's been a while, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like in that movie, that was a guy that was having a really bad day and stuff was like happening to him. Like, and he would try to like, okay, I'm done with this now. I'm going to try to get back to, being a normal person or whatever. And crap just kept piling onto him. And there was like a not that like everything he did was great, like he was in the right and throughout the entire movie. I mean, he would definitely, but there was like a bit of something that you could get behind. Like there's something like he was trying to do, and you kind of like, okay, I understand what like he's trying to do. Whereas Russell Crowe's just crazy in this movie, like it's just stupid. And then like there's a scene in a restaurant where he kills a guy in cold blood. And everybody, like, nobody does anything. Everyone's just like, oh my God. And they're all just sitting there. Like, nobody tries to stop him. Nobody tries to. I just can't buy into that stuff. And then they're out on the highway, right? And he causes like this huge pileup. You know, all these people pile up. And then he's like, you know, his car survives the pileup and he's still chasing after the girl. She gets on the phone. She's calling the police. She's like, that homicide maniac killer that you're looking for that killed the person in the restaurant. He's following me on this highway. And the 911 operator's like, sorry, man, but all of our officers are, at this huge accident on the same highway that you're on. And it's like, what are you talking? What are you talking about? This is so stupid. But we
said restaurant scene. I thought you were talking about the one in Falling Down, which is my favorite scene in the movie when he goes to order the hamburger. He gets in, he's like, yeah, you look at the picture, it looks all great and juicy and wonderful, and he's like flipping through this mashed up burger.
Yeah,
and I think he's carrying like an Uzi in his hand at the same time.
Yeah. Falling Down is aces better than Unhinged, says Sarcasm. And I agree. It's like it's the same style of movie. Like the character's emasculated, so then he goes nuts, and it's, I don't know, wasn't very good. I watched 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea with Michael Douglas's dad, Kirk Douglas. Have you ever seen that?
Kirk Douglas?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I have.
That's a Disney film from the 50s. I remember.
You know what? I did. Sorry, I think I did see the actual Nautilus model at Disney World. That's a cool looking ship.
So was it the actual model that they used in the film?
I think so. It's been a lot of years, but I remember seeing a large scale model of the Nautilus, and I imagine it was when I was at Disney.
It's a cool film. Still holds up. It was good. I'm not a big Disney fan, but they hit a home run with that one. That one was.
I'd be curious to see that because I wasn't really in love with the book. I read that book a few years back, and I was like, man, this is one of those great things. I love. Treasure Island. I love Journey to the Center of the Earth. This seems like one of those old school adventures, and it felt a little dry.
Well, I haven't read any of the books, so but I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really well done, and I thought it was impressive that he was basically like he was talking about how this, because it takes place in the 1800s, and this Captain Nemo guy harnesses this power that's able to power this sub under the ocean. And he's basically talking about nuclear energy, I guess Sarah saw the Nautilus at Disney as well. She watched the movie beside me and didn't bring it up once. Didn't mention it once.
Piece of history.
Interesting.
I did watch another movie that involved water. Well, something called Point Break.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I imagine you liked it. I'm going to guess that you liked it a lot.
Well, I went under with the whole thing is Point Break a better film than The Blues Brothers?
Oh, okay. I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
I will tell you, like, there is no question. The Blues Brothers is by far a much better film. If you're going to judge it on, what it is, what does it accomplish and all that. Point Break was silly and stupid, and I can understand why people enjoy it, but it's really not a very good movie.
Thank God.
No, I will not. I'm not going to trash it. I can kind of see the appeal, but it's basically people enjoy it for the wrong reasons.
That's a good one, Bill. Kevin is getting unhinged. That's good.
It's supposed to be an action adventure, maybe romance drama kind of thing, but it's just silly dialogue and dumb acting and stupid decisions and a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense. But I can kind of see the appeal of, if you just want to watch it for the silly lines.
Well, I went back and because I forgot, that was one of the first reviews I did for buriedonmars.com was Point Break, the Blu-ray. And I went back and I looked at my review, and it all came back to me as I was looking at the review. I remember that Gary Busey was really funny in that movie. He was really good. Like, legit good.
It was nice to see him in a protagonist role. He's usually plays like the sleazy bad guy.
Yeah. And
he's really good at that.
It was a role that was like, that suited his kind of crazy deliverance well. Like it suited hm well. It was a role that suited him well. But everybody else in that movie was terrible. Keanu Reeves was terrible. The guy from that was another discussion from last night that Duke is bringing up. RoboCop or Die Hard. We'll get into that in a second. I'm wearing my RoboCop shirt though, so there you go.
They're both good movies.
I refused to pick. They wanted me to decide which is better, RoboCop or Die Hard. And I'm like, why are we picking this?
My favorite action movie is Die Hard.
My favorite action movie of all time is Die Hard. I think that is the best pure action film. But RoboCop, to me, is a science fiction film with action elements into it. You cannot take like Paul Verhoeven's satire and his social commentary, and like there's more going on there than just your average action flick. So I'm not choosing. I just refuse to choose between the two. They're both good movies, so it's dumb. It's dumb. It was actually dumb to put Blues Brothers and
it's apples and oranges, really.
What's called Pacific Rim? What the hell is that movie called?
Point Break.
Point Break.
You're talking about your original review of the Blu-ray of this film at the moment.
So, yes, Gary Busey was good, but all the other acting was terrible, and the plot itself made no sense because this group, this team of bank robbers, were so elite and so good and so careful about everything they did. They successfully robbed at least 30 banks in a row without getting caught by the FBI. And then they just get stupid. This movie starts and like, oh, we did all this stuff, but you have no idea how because now we're dumb. We are the dumbest people. We're going to like let this guy that we don't know, this random dude that we don't know, that we think it's kind of cool, we're going to let him in the club. And all the rules that we followed to get successful up to this point, forget it. They're out the window now. We do dumb things. Like their strategy was that they only rob the bank tellers because it takes too long to go into the bank vault and get all the money out of the vault. We just want the stuff that's in the tellers. It's not as big of a get, but we get in and we get out fast. No, now we're dumb. Now we're going right to the vaults now. We're going at the wrong time of the day. We're doing it was a terrible movie. Made no sense. Bill says Duke is going to make me walk off the show. I am not Pierce Morgan, so we'll be fine. Sarah says Bill is on fire, so someone better put him out. And Bill wants to know John Lennon or Angus Young. Who do you save from the sinking boat? John Lennon's dead already, so I'll save Angus Young. That's an easy one. I mean, I'll save the guy who's still alive over the casket. There you go. I watched Coming to America, not Coming to America, but Coming to America, the latest one.
Does it have a logo of Eddie Murphy doing the peace sign?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It just has the number 2 instead of TO. And it's terrible. It's not very good.
I imagine that just from the trailer.
It has a lot of fun cameos in it. Like he's got everybody in there. Because he's like the king of this country, so he can afford anybody. And there's a lot of like little musical acts and stuff like that. That was fun. And, the production value and everything was really spectacular. Like there was a lot of like just really well done choreographed scenes and all that. But all the jokes in the movie were the exact same jokes from the first one. Like what made that first movie fun were all the extra characters that Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall played. They put on all the makeup and like came up with all these, like the barbershop guys and the music guy, and there was all sorts of fun stuff in that movie. And in this one, they just brought all the same characters back. it was lame. It's like, do some new characters, do something fun. And it was the exact same, like, oh, we're going to go to America. This time he had to bring back his son. They got that Leslie Jones in the movie, who usually I don't care for. She worked a little better in this movie, but her whole shtick where she just yells, like, that's because it's funny because she just yells. Like, it worked a little better in this movie, but I don't know. This really wasn't my thing. Even Tracy Morgan was kind of like, felt a little off in this one. So I can't recommend that one. And yeah, Bill brings up the point, jokes without edge. Yeah, there was absolutely no edge in the movie. And like, a lot of the stuff was really wedged in. Like, you know, they wanted to have the McDowell's guy in there. So they like cook up the scene to have him in there. And Louis Anderson has a couple of lines in the movies because he
really
was
they brought back Louis.
They brought back Louis, yeah. I don't know. So that wasn't very good.
That original movie is pretty good. You go to if you go to Eddie Murphy's like first 5 or so movies, like they're all home runs.
Oh yeah, he was
48
getting
Hours, Trading Places, Coming to America, Beverly Hills Cop. He had like so many great ones back then.
He was getting all the best scripts though too, because he was the new hotness.
Yeah, and Bill points it out right here. PG. It's like the original ones. There was a lot of edge. A lot of language that would not fly these days, especially 48 Hours.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't his nickname for, like, I think in Beverly Hills Cop 2, there was like one female bad guy, and his nickname for her was Big Bitch.
Yes, yeah, I think that was part 2.
That's what he just called her all the time.
That was what's her name? Red Sonja.
Right, yes,
Bridget.
Nielsen. But, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Anyways, was it Bridget Nielsen? Is that her name? Oh, well, anyways. Oh, and I watched the movie you watched, Sideways. With, Paul Giamatti and Thomas Hayden Church, and that movie holds up, still good. That's a really good movie. I forgot it was done by the guy who did Election and The Descendants, which are both good movies as well. What's his name?
Got it right here. If only my eyes worked. Directed by Alexander Payne.
Right. Yeah, it's good. Still holds up.
It's got a nice timeless quality to it, too. It doesn't really feel like... Well, I guess it was early 2000s when they made this. Yeah.
Well, and when the movie starts up, I was like, does this take place in the 80s? Because all the cars on the street were all old 80s cars. And it wasn't until he pulled out a cell phone that I was like, okay, this is definitely like a 2004 movie. Oh,
he's got those Breaking Bad cell phones.
Yeah. The flip phones. Yeah.
That's a good movie. Oh, gosh. I don't know if I should say this now. I also watched a movie with Paul Giamatti in it. I didn't realize it was him, though. I saw The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh. What? He's in that?
He is. He plays the Rhino.
No.
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
That's him. I didn't believe it until afterwards I saw like his name in the credits. Like, but where was Paul Giamatti? Get out of here.
Paul Giamatti's a Rhino.
He doesn't have his beard, and he has like this weird Russian accent. Did not know that was him.
I was wondering, because when we were watching the movie, I'm like, what has he done recently? Like, what's been his...
This is back a few years, too.
I have to see this now. Rhino.
It's not pretty. It's not going to be worth it.
Oh, he's just in a big mech suit.
Yeah.
Oh,
like God. It didn't have to be him. I don't know why they went out of their way, unless he was promised a larger role in the next film. That if they were planning on that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That movie has a whole score of problems.
I can only imagine.
There are it's shockingly bad. Like the story goes in so many different directions. I'm wondering if this was another case of the studio saying, just get more in there. We need more action figures. You know,
Right.
Put a Rhino character in there.
What's with the barbed wire on his head? Was that like?
I think it was a tattoo.
Oh, I see.
He plays some like Russian gangster guy.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, probably. Like they always put way too many villains in these movies.
Rhino, Mecha Rhino, worst ever. Does that, Bill? It sounds like you've seen this film.
Mecha Rhino. I can't. I think Bill watches all the Spider-Man movies. I could not. Like I started that first Amazing Spider-Man, and I can't take a moody Peter Parker. Like that's just not emo. Peter Parker is just not.
He's not moody. He just comes across as kind of dim-witted. I think he was like a skateboarder in the first one.
Yeah, and he just seemed
like
that
whole like he's like Keanu Reeves in Point Break, you know.
Oh man, how the mighty have fallen. Let's see. Paul Giamatti's going to be in San Andreas 2. That's been announced.
San Andreas 1.
That's that Rock movie with the Rock.
Oh, one of those everything falls apart.
Yeah,
buildings fall down, earthquakes and stuff.
He's doing voiceovers in a lot of TV series. He's doing TV series. Billions.
Paul Giamatti is a very talented actor. He just
absolutely.
Sideways was his shot. That like he got nominated for an Oscar. He was big time. He got a couple of big roles right after that, but I don't think any of those films did much. Like he was in one of those Shyamalan movies.
Oh right.
And, like they were just like tanking, and I guess that was his time. You know, he's back to doing bit parts.
He was on a roll there for a while. He was in American Splendor. He was in.
I guess Kevin crashed again. Pig vomit, says Bill. I imagine that's a review of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And or is that a name of a movie?
Pig vomit. No, he's in the. I was trying to say he was in the Howard Stern film. He played Pig Vomit.
Pig Vomit is the name of a character?
Yeah. So there was so Howard Stern would refer to one of his producers when he was working terrestrial radio as Pig Virus. And then when they did the movie, he took like a couple of elements from different producers and put them all into one, and they called them Pig Vomit. I did not walk out. I don't know why, but my
for the record, that's 2 times this episode.
My screen, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk out in mid sentence. That's what I'm gonna do. That's my strategy. I'm about to say Howard Stern, and I'm gonna, boom, take myself out.
Hey, let me bring this around. Since
sure.
Bill's, Brian Regan, Bill, did you see his latest Netflix special, On the Rocks?
You're gonna have to wait for him to answer, so you might as well just answer and give us your opinion.
It's great. I love Brian Regan. He always makes me laugh.
He's got a new one on what? Netflix?
Netflix. It's called On the Rocks, and he's got gray hair. Makes me feel so old. Brian Regan is great because he works clean, so I can even put that on with my kids and not have to worry about like where he's going to go with his material because it's always safe. It's always funny. It's great stuff.
John Adams. That's the last movie I remember Giamatti in.
John Adams, like
he played John Adams
figure.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I just remember it being like promoted.
Whoops, that's Eternal Eyes.
All right, well,
everybody likes Brian Regan. What's left? Video games. So we talk about video games.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot. I played a video game that you would like. Oh wait, I just wanted to mention Kim's Convenience got canceled, and it pissed me off because I just got into that show.
Oh,
and they didn't they filmed their last season, so it's airing right now, and they just said, "Oh, no, this will be the last season." So we're not going to get any sort of closure on a few storylines that's been going on. So no bueno, boo CBC. Hopefully, like Netflix.
Disney cancel that too?
No, it was a CBC show, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. I don't know why they canceled. Apparently, the showrunners didn't want to do the show anymore, so they just left. They probably got an offer they couldn't refuse from Netflix or something like that. But anyways,
don't know. I've been playing Castle Crashers with Creepy
Nice.
Josh.
Nice. On the Steam?
Yeah, and I thought it was cool because I'm kind of on vacation now because it's the end of the year, so high school's out, so I got free time in the mornings. So I think, hey, this is gonna be great. It'll be so easy to meet up. In 2 weeks, we managed to get together like 3 times. Something always comes up because I'm doing a lot of yard work.
Yeah, that's
right now.
That's more times than I get with people, so that's good. 3 times, 2 weeks. That's good.
Yeah, it's fun. Fun game though.
Yeah.
I never played it multiplayer, so it's interesting now. Tough too. I don't remember this game being so challenging. There goes Kevin again. I'll also mention a little bit of a cartridge club effect going on right now. They're doing the Turtle Power this month. And then the other day, on Mario Day, they announced a brand new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle beat 'em up. What's up with that? Kevin was so excited that he just
at the run.
he had to run out of the room.
I don't know what's going on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Gremlins. Hey, I played a game that you would like. I got that Game Pass. I got Game Pass for $1 for 3 months. Thought that was a great deal. And every game I start up, I'm just like, this is crap. I don't like this. I can't find anything. Like I played that Star Wars: The Fallen Jedi, Last Jedi, and everyone says it's like Dark Souls meets Star Wars. And I start playing it. It's not Dark Souls. It's that stupid Nathan Drake. Just jump around, hang on to edges of things. And it's like, oh, I played this so many times. And so then I finally get into the action where you kill some stormtroopers, and I don't know, it just wasn't doing it for me. So I, going game to game to game. Finally, I land on this one game called Xeno Crisis, and I just downloaded it.
This sounds like an RPG.
Hold on. I downloaded it because the artwork looked like Contra. You had like 2 guys, or there was a guy and a girl, and they're holding guns and they're shooting, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay, this
cool.
And it was a very small file, so I'm like, okay, this has to be like a Contra like thing. Fire it up. It's not Contra. It is like Smash TV.
Ooh.
And it is really fun. It is good times. So it's tough. Like I'm trying to play it and I'm dying, getting hit and that, because like in Smash TV, the characters run up to you and hit you, right? So you're good as long as the characters don't hit you. But then you get to the ones that start throwing projectiles at you, and that's where it gets crazy, because you're trying to keep like 2 lines of geometry in your head as you're avoiding stuff, which is pretty wild. So it gets really tough. But there is a nice feature in the game where you can easily access the cheats by just pressing a few buttons on the controller, and then you got your cheats open, and you can just like give yourself unlimited continues, unlimited lives, unlimited health, whatever you want. So I went with unlimited continues. I wanted a little bit of challenge, but I still want to be able to play. I want to see the content, and I was having a lot of fun with that. That was good times. And then Sarah came into the room. She's like, "What you playing?" And I'm like, "Oh, this thing." She's like, "Oh, this looks like something fun." And I'm like, "Well, we'll get you a controller the next time." And because we had to go get our sushi, because it was time to get sushi. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that with her.
I just wish listed it right now. Looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I forgot the name. I always forget the name of that game. The one you just said.
Smash TV.
Smash TV and Alien Syndrome.
Yeah.
And they're totally ripping off Jill Valentine with the artwork here.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I think she's supposed to have armor on where...
This is cool. It looks like enemies have shields and stuff. Big boss battles.
Yeah, it's good.
Nice style.
And you can go through the level and just try to get to the end as quickly as possible, or you can go through and try to get bonus points by freeing hostages and that, so you get bonuses for doing that. But the more you go into the level, the more enemies that pop up, and then you get money at the end that you can put towards making your character a little better. So it's got a little bit of a skill tree in there, and a lot of the sound effects are very Metal Slug. Like you get a rocket launcher, and you get you free the guys, and they're like, "Thank you," just like in Metal
I
Slug.
love when they do that stuff.
Yeah,
SNK had some great ones. There's another one by SNK. It's kind of like a top-down shooter like this. What's it called? I can't remember the name of it, but there are two of them, and they're great. They're so much fun.
Yeah, they had a few. No, Vietnam was like a side one, right?
There's one arcade game called what is it? Nam 1979.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's a really fun game.
Yeah,
Tough too. Actually,
yeah,
maybe I took it down, or maybe I never put it
Did
up.
you do a video? Did you do a video?
I did a video on that, but I think it's one of the videos that I never put up.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we got Dean in here.
Of those.
I mentioned sushi and Dean.
Shock Troopers. Thank you. Of course, Steven knows it.
Steven knows all the good SNK.
Kari Warriors and Commando is another game.
Like Kari Warriors is not a great game. Commandos, and there's one. I think it was like the follow up to Commandos, where you get three guys.
Even Akari Warriors on the arcade, that's no good.
It's not as good as the others.
I remember the NES.
Simple.
Like the NES one sucked because you only have the D-pad and you have to move and shoot because you can only shoot where you and that doesn't work. That's no bueno.
There are some good top-down shooters.
Anyways, Xeno Crisis, really good, a lot of fun.
Yes,
good times. Get that in you.
Speaking, I mentioned the new Turtle game while you were having your little walk there.
Yes.
And the one thing I don't like about it is the artwork looks kind of Game Boy Advance-ish, like the characters. It's
had that cell.
I wish they had gone for a little more arcadey or classic 16-bit, but that GBA micro pixel looking thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Duke is saying Commando is great in Gunsmoke. That's another good one. They're both Capcom games too.
Gun.smoke.
And Kyle wants to see the Vox's Lost video collection. I guess he wants to see. He wants you to post those.
I'm pretty sure they're on a different computer, but maybe I'll upload them to the Retro Fandango YouTube channel.
You took down your channel completely, like the Rambox channel?
No, it's up there with just a couple of same things, like just a couple of videos. I was just like, I don't want this. Delete, 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 delete. And I'm like, oh man, I made so much garbage. Delete, 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 delete.
Well, I took the comments off a few videos because I was just like sick of like I don't want to argue about stuff like from that I made a video like in 2013 and people like still want to argue about stupid crap and I'm like I don't want to hear about it. So I took the comments off of some, but then some people will go and find your video that you have a comment still enabled on. And they're like, hey, I tried to leave a comment on this video, but they were disabled. So I'll just say here. And I'm like, you jerk.
I got to tell you how much you suck.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Oh, and it's always like you just missed out some detail or they want to talk about a soundtrack for a game. What do you mean you
don't like the music in Nier?
It's the music in Nier and the multiplayer in Nox. And it's like, I didn't play the multiplayer in Nox. I played the game like a dozen years after it came out. There were no servers. I just don't want to talk about it anymore. So anyway, goodbye videos. Gone. They also, according to Steven, they put Xeno Crisis onto a Genesis cart for retro console folks. Good for them. I cannot imagine playing that game with the Sega Genesis controller because it's a twin stick shooter. That would not be the way I would want to play it.
Speaking of Sega Genesis, I did watch the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Oh God, was it any good?
It's a kids movie. It's made for little kids. Watch it with your niece and nephew. It's honestly, it's not a very good movie. There's tons of problems with it, but it's not
a bad movie. It's, it's perfectly acceptable for little kids.
I don't understand why they do that though with classic. Like, is there something like there's like kids clamoring for more Sonic content?
No, there are middle-aged dudes who want to
who have
see it,
kids, right?
and I guess that's it.
It's got to be it. Like, that's it, right? Dean wants to know, how are people supposed to find out about UFO Common? I don't know what that means. What does that all mean?
It's a video game on the Super Famicom. You're just gonna have to live your life, Dean.
Oh, that's your video. Okay.
So.
Got it. And I guess Steven wants you to put all your videos on Prime Video. I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
They must have missed the part where you said you also did this, because.
Oh yeah, no, nobody cares about my videos. Your videos are the ones that they care about. Believe me.
Everybody cares about them once they're gone.
Exactly.
Like,
when they were there,
there's been no activity here for how many years?
No one has watched the Star Tropics videos in 5 years, and now you're going to hear about it. Where are those Star Tropic videos?
How dare you take away something that I remember?
I didn't take it away. It's still there. If you really want it, I'll give you the link and you can watch it. But because they're still on YouTube, they're just not available to the public. Okay, anything else? Turbo Kid, what's that? Did we talk about that?
More movies that I watched. I was peeking around through Creepy Josh's movie library, looking for some interesting things. Turbo Kid is like Mad Max on 80s dirt bikes.
Oh.
It's a very low budget film, and it's silly, and it's pretty good. It's pretty fun.
What's Bone Tomahawk?
That is another fairly low budget-ish movie, I think. It's got your boy, Kurt Russell. It's a Western.
Oh, that's right.
I really didn't know anything about it other than just like, oh, what is this kind of creepy Western looking thing? And that is also a pretty interesting movie that has some awkward elements. But it's the first time in a long time that I had to watch a scene in a movie like this. It was like, oh, no, I don't want to see this.
Oh. Eyeball stuff?
Because, well, in both movies, Turbo Kid and Bone Tomahawk, they make use of a lot of practical effects. There's some CG, but there's also a lot of, body stuff and makeup. And there's one scene in there that I wasn't prepared for what this movie was. I really didn't know anything about it. And it's not perfect, but it's interesting.
I see. Steven wants to know if you watched the Sonic movie on Prime Video.
Oh, Netflix.
There you go. I think it's on Prime Video here. I have zero desire to watch it, though. Not that anyone cares.
There are a couple of neat little, like, they get in a lot of the little details that you kind of want to see, and they don't do it in an obnoxious way. The best part of the whole movie for me is it was distributed by Paramount. And, Paramount's got the stars, they go over the mountain, the logo. And recently it's been like the stars, they skim across the water and then they go up and over. They just changed them to rings. And
that's cool.
The little Sonic rings make the thing. And you get like the Sega sound and little chimes. And I was like, oh, that's just like Sonic.
That must be a Paramount thing. Like, it must be, because they did the same with Coming to America too. Like, it showed the logo and that, and then the camera kept zooming in on the mountain, and then the mountain was in the movie.
Occasionally they try to do that, like Indiana Jones. They do
the
mountain logo.
I guess that's their thing.
Occasionally, I think they give them permission when you got a good enough idea. They're like, okay, you can fudge the logo a little bit. Have fun with it. Make sure our name's there. We want our money.
Okay, so there's one more movie that I watched. I'm not sure if I should mention it, but I rewatched The Never-Ending Story.
How much do you hate it now? Oh, look at that. He hated it so much he had to leave. Couldn't even stand it. For the record, I think this is probably the 4th time now. And if we don't get this bug worked out, in 2 weeks. I don't know what kind of show we're gonna have.
Oh, this is stupid, man. Ridiculous.
Are you downloading something you shouldn't be right
There's
now?
nothing going on.
Is
Zero.
that what you're
And
just
it's-
saying because you know Sarah's listening?
No, there's nothing. There's nothing going on.
Sarah, you might want to go down and peek at his computer.
She can, there's nothing happening here. I got the same windows I normally have up. I got our outline, I got my movie watch list, and I got one more looking at Xeno Crisis right now. Okay, so I watched Never Ending Story. You know what? That movie, it doesn't hold up.
It's got some fun parts, but yeah, I kind of had the same experience. I watched it with my kids a while ago, and I've read the book, and I find the book is a lot better.
I didn't know there was a book.
Oh yeah, it's all based on some German guy's book, and the book is only the movie is only the first half of the book. The second half of the book goes in a completely different direction. But yeah, there's still a lot to enjoy. There's a lot of great puppetry and
Sure.
fun,
Oh yeah.
fun environments and everything, but it's not like the perfect movie that maybe you remember as a kid.
Yeah, like story wise, just wasn't that. Like it felt very disjointed. Like they introduce all these characters at the start of the movie, like that big guy, and and then they're just kind of gone.
Yeah,
they're like, where'd they go?
Well, it's just kind of they do spend a fair amount of time and money on those characters that don't appear later on.
Yeah.
At the end, I think you see them waving or something.
Right.
But
yeah. And I get it, like they were there.
It was like a huge puppet.
Yeah. And I get it, they were like there to set up the world, so you get a sense of what's happening in that. But then they get to that princess, and she's on the cover of the DVD I have, and she's in the movie for like 2 seconds at the end.
Well, she's the key. She
And
needs
then-
a new name.
And then when he finally gives her name, what the heck's the name? Whatever that. What was that?
Her
Samantha?
name is Moonchild.
Is that what he said?
Yes, but in the movie you can't hear it.
No. What? Oh, jeez. Come on. Give me something here. Like I was looking forward to finding out what the name was.
Oh, I still like the movie. It's got its charms, but it's not perfect.
I wouldn't watch it again.
It's got its
kinda-
problems. Well, you're not the target audience.
I know, I understand.
This is for people who have hope.
I have hope. I have plenty of hope. I'm very optimistic. I just want a good story, damn it. The beginning, middle, and end. But I don't know. It was okay. I still gave it 3 stars. I gave it an okay pass. It was fine.
Yeah.
But
It's perfectly fine.
a lot of the animatronics I found didn't age very well. Like they really, like Jabba the Hutt, that puppet was designed to be a big slug puppet, right? Whereas this flying dog talking thing, like there was just too much.
Well, it was a very large puppet.
Yeah, but they went too far. Like they designed Jabba the Hutt's mouth to look good on screen, whereas this, like, we're gonna have like this animal's just huge jaw talking, and it just doesn't sync up, doesn't work very well.
I imagine that the third Star Wars film probably had bigger budget.
Probably, but I mean, they
than
couldn't.
Finding Story.
Even in Star Wars, they couldn't pull off something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Jabba the Hutt was designed to look good on camera, to look realistic. Whereas this thing was like they took an idea from a book and they're trying to present that on screen, and that's more difficult to do instead of designing the character from scratch to look good on camera.
Wow.
That makes sense. Anyways, it was a lot of people have fond memories of that movie, and I remember I saw that in the theater. That was one of the handful of movies I saw in the theater as a kid, and I remember loving it as a kid. I don't know where the kid in the movie, I don't know where he goes to the bathroom in that attic room or whatever.
That's the
off
80s,
the side.
man.
But
Go where
Yeah.
you need to.
yeah, doesn't hold up as well as some other kids movies that I enjoyed from the past. There you go. That's it. I think we said enough. We've done our episode. See you in 2 weeks. We're no longer weekly. That's it. I mean, there's nothing relevant in we're not a weekly podcast anymore. I don't have the soundboard anymore. Maybe now with more time, I'll get that together. I figured out how to do it. At least I know how to do it. I just got to put the stuff on my computer. And oh, look at this! My outline thing crashed. Ah, snap! Something went wrong. Let's see if I can share that. Share that with you guys. Look, see, that's what happens.
Oh, snap.
Boom. So weird.
People really get clever with their troubleshooting screens.
Yeah, so there's nothing relevant in there
Attempt
anymore.
to
Anyways.
keep you calm.
Anyways, that's it. That's an episode.
Sure.
I think we can just say goodbye. We stopped talking. Thanks, everybody, for joining us in the chat.
I think a few people bailed out already.
Well, I'll still thank Kyle and Steven and Dean and Duke and Bill and Sarah. That's it. That was plenty. That was a lot for us. That's enough.
Look at this. I got to scroll multiple times to
Yeah.
get down to the end of the comments here.
Yeah, it's mostly people talking amongst themselves, but
Oh, yeah. Half the comments are, hey, how are
that's
you?
fine. Hey, that's fine. It's all good. Make this a place to hang. It's
We
all
bring
good.
people together.
Yeah, not each other, but other people.
Yeah.
Together. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.